day, viewers and subscribers. Welcome back to Smart Study Kingdom, where learning is fun, simple, and it makes sense. In today's video, we will be looking at the Grade 5 Mathematics Performance Task, June 2026 answers. Remember to visit the Smart Study Kingdom store where you can find a variety of learning materials to support your learning experience. Now, let's get into the video. Let us begin. General instructions. This task has four parts: part 1, part 2, part 3, and part 4. Part 1 has questions 1A, 1B, and 1C. Part 2 has questions 2A, 2B, and 2C. Part 3 has questions 3A, 3B, 4A, 4B, and 4C. Part 4 has question 5. Instructions to begin. Read the information in each part carefully. Use the information provided to answer all questions in each part. So let us go to the introduction to task, pedestrian crossing. Your school is located along a busy road. Many students and teachers find it difficult to cross the road safely to get to the school, especially in the mornings. The school plans to put a pedestrian crossing in place. You have been selected to be a part of the committee helping with this plan. Your task is to help the committee to determine the number of vehicles that pass the school at different locations, choose the best location for the pedestrian crossing, calculate the cost to purchase paint for the pedestrian crossing, determine the overall cost to put the pedestrian crossing in place. So let's just look at part 1. Part 1, number of vehicles. The diagram below shows a sketch of the school and the three locations, M, N, and P, that the committee is thinking about for the pedestrian crossing. They decided to observe the number of vehicles that pass each location one morning for 20 minutes, just before the start of school. So, this is the picture showing the three locations and where the pedestrian crossing will be located. The bar graph below shows the number of vehicles counted at each location, M, N, and P, during the observation. So here we're seeing the number of vehicles. The number goes up the bar graph, and then we see the different locations. And the title of the bar graph is Bar Graph Showing the Number of Vehicles That Were Counted at the Three Locations. So let us proceed to question 1. Question 1 says, Table 1 shows the number of vehicles that were counted at each location during the 20-minute observation period. 1A, complete Table 1 using the bar graph on page 4. So we have the locations going down, and two of the locations, the number of vehicles, they're missing. So let's just go to the bar graph and find out the number of vehicles for M. So location M. So we have 0, 10, 20, 30, 40. So location M, we're going to put 40. And location P, you're going to come across location P is 30 vehicles. So that's question 1A. 1B says, what is the total number of vehicles that were counted during the 20-minute period? Show your work in the space provided. So if we're to find the total, it means that we're going to add up all the vehicles noted. So we have 40, 55, and 30. 5 plus 0, 5. Then we have 3 plus 5, that's 8. And 8 plus 4, that's 12. So we have 125 vehicles. So we may also write 125 vehicles were observed during the 20-minute period. Okay, that's just explaining our answer a little bit more. Let's just look at question 1C. At which location was the highest number of vehicles counted? Put a tick in the box beside the location that you have selected. So let us look at which location had the highest number of vehicles. We have 40, 55, and 30. So no doubt it would be location N. So we're going to put a tick in the box at location N. Let us proceed to part 2, and it's based on the best crossing location. Table 2 shows 1. The 3 suggested locations M, N, and P. 2. The shortest distance from the start of the pedestrian crossing to the school entrance. 3. The minimum time it takes to walk from the start of the pedestrian crossing to the school entrance. Table 2, we're seeing the locations. Shortest distance from school entrance, M, 30 meters, and the minimum time to walk is 15 seconds. Location N, shortest distance from school entrance is 25 meters, and minimum time to walk is 12 seconds. And finally, location P, the shortest distance is 40 meters, and the minimum time to walk is 20 seconds. Now let us continue. Based on all the information the committee has collected so far, they need to decide on the best location for the pedestrian crossing. The committee has decided that the best location for the pedestrian crossing should meet all the following conditions. The location must be 30 meters or less from the school entrance. 2. Allow for 15 seconds or less to walk to the school entrance. And 3. Have 40 vehicles or less counted on observation day during the 20-minute period. So let us keep all those in mind when we're doing these questions. Question 2A says, use the 3 conditions and the information in Table 1 and Table 2 to complete Table 3. For each location, put a tick if it meets the condition, and put an X if it does not meet the condition. So, location M, let us see if it meets condition 1. So condition 1 again is must be 30 meters or less from the school entrance. Location M, yes, it does meet that criteria, so we're going to put a tick. Location N, let's see if it met criteria 1. So 30 meters or less, yes. 25 is less than 30. Let's look at location P. 40 meters. No, it does not meet the criteria. Okay, let's look at condition 2. Allows for 15 seconds or less to walk to the school entrance. Let's begin with location M. 15 seconds or less, yes. Location N. Let's see if it met the criteria. 12 seconds, yes, that's 15 seconds or less. And location P is 20 seconds, so it does not meet that criteria or condition. Let us look at condition 3 now. Have 40 vehicles or less counted on observation day during the 20-minute period. So let's go back to table 1. Table 1. So 40 vehicles or less. Location M. Yes, it does meet that condition. Location N. 55 is greater than 40, so it does not meet that condition. And location P, 30, which is less than 40, so yes, it does meet that condition. Okay, so we are finished with that section. Let's just look at 2B. Based on the committee's conditions, which location is best for the pedestrian crossing? Put a tick next to the location you have selected. So we have location M, N, and P. So we're going to be checking for the one that meets all the conditions, and we can clearly see that it is location M. So we're going to tick location M. Now 2C says, explain why the location you chose in question 2B is best. Write your answer in the space provided below. So we're going to say that location M is the best. We're going to answer in a full sentence. Is the best location for the pedestrian crossing because why did we choose it? Because it met all the conditions, or all the three conditions, or all three conditions set by the committee. Okay, so that's why we're choosing location M. Let's just look at part 3, paint cost. A pedestrian crossing consists of white painted stripes. The diagram below, not drawn to scale, shows the length and width of one stripe. So we're seeing the 1 meter showing the length, and the width is 4 meters. So let's just look at 3A. Calculate the area of one stripe. Show your work in the space provided. So length times width, we have 1 meter times 4 meters. That is equal to 4 meters square. So that would be the area of one stripe. Now let us continue. The pedestrian crossing has 6 white stripes. 1 tin of white paint will paint 2 meters square of the pedestrian crossing. 3B says calculate the number of tins of white paint needed to paint the pedestrian crossing. Show your work in the space provided below. So, if the area of one is 4 meters squared and the paint can only paint 2 meters square, it means that 1 tin is going to paint here, then we have 2, then we have 3, and then 4, and 5, and 6, and so on. So what we're essentially doing is to multiply 2 meters square by the 6 stripes. So 2 meters square times the 6 stripes, that would allow us to know that we'll need 10 tins, or sorry, 12 tins of white paint. So we're going to need 12 tins in all, because one tin can only paint a half of the stripe. Now let us proceed to question 4. The committee needs to buy paint for the pedestrian crossing. A paint shop is having a sale on two different paint brands, Highlight Paint and Paint World. The sale options are given below. So Highlight Paint, their sale is the price is 5,500 for each tin of paint, and if you buy 5 tins of paint, you will get 1 tin of paint free. So keep in mind how many tins of paint we need. We need 12 tins of paint. And Paint World, they're saying that 1 tin of paint will cost $6,000, and if you buy now, you'll get 1,000 off the price of each tin of paint. So if you're thinking about it, that would be 12,000 off the cost, the total cost, since we need 12 tins of paint. So let us proceed to 4A. 4A says, based on your response to question 3B, calculate the cost for the total number of tins of paint needed if purchased from the Highlight Paint brand. Show your work in the space provided. So we need 12 paints, or 12 tins of paint. This brand now is saying that 5,500 can give you 5 tins of paint, and you'll get one free. And if we buy another set of 5, then we'll get another free. So that will give us our 12 tins of paint. So we're paying for 10 and we're going to get 12. So let us calculate the price of 10 tins of paint. Now we know that when we're multiplying by powers of 10, we don't need to work it out the long way. But let us do it first and then we get our answer. So 0 times all these numbers will give us 0. And we're finished with a 0. And we're going to put in our placeholder because we have moved to the tens place. 1 0 is 0, 0 again. 1 times 5 is 5, and then 1 times 5 is 5. Now adding it up, we're going to add up these zeros. 5 plus 0 is 5, and 5 plus 0 again is 5. So if we buy from Highlight Paint, then we're going to be spending 55,000, and we could have just added the 0 on the end instead of working it out the long way. So 12 tins of paint, we'll get 12 tins of paint and we'll pay 55,000. Now let us look at 4B. Based on your response to question 3B, calculate the cost for the total number of tins of paint needed if purchased from the Paint World brand. Show your work in the space provided below. Now, Paint World is saying 6,000 for each paint. So we need to know what 6,000 times 12 looks like. So we're going to calculate 6,000 times 12, and then we're going to see how much we're going to take off based on the sale. 2 times 0 is 0, 0, 0. 2 times 6 is 12. We're finished with the 2 now, and we're finished with the ones place. 1 times 0 is 0, 1 times 0 is 0, 1 times 0 is 0, and 1 times 6 is 6. So let's add it up now to find the total. 0, 0, 0, 2, 6 plus 1 is 7. So 72,000. But they said that they'll take off $1,000 for each paint sold. And we bought, or we're planning to buy 12 tins of paint. So that will be 72,000 subtract 12,000. And that would be, all of these will be zeros, and then 2 from 2, that's 0, and then 1 from 7, that's 6. So if we buy from this brand, it's going to cost us 60,000. So now we know what each brand is offering. Question 4C. The committee wants to purchase a cheaper paint. Which paint brand works out cheaper? Write your answer in the space provided. So the cheaper paint brand is the Highlight brand. Because it is $5,000 less than Paint World, or something to that effect. Now let us continue. Part 4, the total cost. To put the pedestrian crossing in place, the committee has a budget of $196,000. The list of items needed for the pedestrian crossing is given in the table below. So we see the items, pedestrian sign, the cost for each item is listed. Each pedestrian sign is 25,000, the quantity is 2. Bags of cement, 7,000 each, quantity needed 6. Warning light, 32,500 for each, and the quantity is 2. And cone for each is 4,000 and the quantity is 2. Now we're asked to write the total cost for the paint needed from question 4C. So the total cost for Highlight paint is 55,000. So let's write it right here. Question 5 says, after including the cost for the paint needed, the committee realized that they were over budget. Number 1 says, prove that the committee is over budget. So we need to show that everything is going to add up to more than what they said they're willing to spend. So let us work out pedestrian sign. The pedestrian sign is, let's look at the price again, 25,000 times 2. We don't need to work that out. Pedestrian sign, that's going to be 50,000. 25,000 times 2 is 50,000. Bags of cement, 7,000 times 6. That's, let's write C for cement. 7 times 6 is 42. So that is 42,000. Warning light, that's 32,500. So 32 plus 32 is 64. So 64,000, and then the 500 and 500 would give us another 1,000. So that would be 65,000. And the cone would be 4,000 times 2, that would be 8,000. And finally, we have the cost for the paint, that would be 55,000. Okay, so let's add it up now. So zeros, we add the zeros. 5 plus 5, that's 10, and then 8, that's 18, and 2, 20. We add a 0 and we carry the 2, and then we have 5 and 5 here again, that's 10, 16, 20, 22. So the total is 220,000. So that's the answer for I. So the total is 220,000. So that's why it's over the budget. Now let us answer part 2. Show that if the committee reduces the quantity of one of the items needed, they can stay within the budget. Okay, so what can we take off? So the cement, all of these items are important, but we have pedestrian sign. We have 2 of them. We can take off one of those because we only need one of the pedestrian signs. So we're going to take off one of those. So if we take off one pedestrian sign, we're going to be left with 220,000 subtract 25,000. Zeros, take away zeros, we have zeros left. 5 from 0, we're unable to do that, so we're going to rename. 1 is left, and we bring over a group of 10. 5 from 10, that's 5. And then 2 from 21, that's 19. So now we have 195,000. And now we are within the budget because the budget is 196,000. So these are the solutions. I hope you really did well. And that's a wrap on this video. Remember, consistency is your secret weapon. Every question you solve brings you one step closer to mastery. Keep the energy high and keep studying smart. Until next time.